Okay, good morning and welcome to Yeshiva YouTube. We're back after Yom Noraim. We're starting Kesubos Kuf Dalet 104. Great cheer for you today. Only the best. If you're in Chutz La'aretz, you're probably celebrating Simchas Torah today. So have me in mind when you're dancing. Because remember, you're dancing now, and then after Yontav, you can hear this cheer. You'll have what to dance for even more. Hakafos Shlishis, you can do Hakafos a third time. All right, let's get into it. The top of Kuf Dalet and Aleph. I'm talking about Rebbe's Petir. Rebbe died. The top line of Kuf Dalet and Aleph, 140. Ahu Yom U'Danach Nafshi the Rebbe. When Rebbe died that day, Gaz Rabbanan Tanisa, they made a tightness. They wanted everyone to daven and pray for Rebbe. He shouldn't die. They were davening for him. Amri Kolma Damar Nach Nafshi the Rebbe. If anyone, right, falsely said that he died, they would stop davening for him and they would lose Rebbe. So they threatened anyone who said that he died, misinformation, that he would be killed. Slika Amte the Rebbe Le'igra, one of the maidservants of Rebbe's house, she went up to the roof. Amr Elyonim Abakshanis Rebbe, but Tachtonim Abakshanis Rebbe, right? He's about to die. The Elyonim, the angels, want him, and Tachtonim, the people, human beings, want him to live as Rebbe. You're telling Sheyekufa Tachtonim as Elyonim, it should be Hashem's Ratzon that the people on earth should win out. She saw how many times he was going to the bathroom. I guess he had stomach problems. And he was taking off his tefillin. You can't wear your tefillin in the bathroom. And he was putting it back on to come mitzvah. Doesn't sound like he's mitzvah physically from his ailment, or he was just mitzvah from having to put on tefillin so many times. She prayed that he should die, the Elyonim should take over, the Malachim should take him. And the Rabbanan nonetheless would not stop davening. She took a flower pot, she threw it from the roof to the ground, and they all looked at the crash. They stopped davening, and that's precisely when he died. And went into the Bar Kapara, go check. They didn't know if he had actually died. He found that he had stopped breathing. He ripped his garment. You have to rip your garment when you see Talmud Chacham die, especially the Gadol Ador, the Nasi. But he turned his ripped garment to the back so no one should see it. Pasach v'amar, areilim mitzukim achzu ba'aron hakodesh nitzchu areilim es mitzukim. Areilim are the Malachim, Mitzukim. According to ArtScroll, it means human beings, Mitzukim, people, the foundations of the world. They both tried to grab the Aron HaKodesh. Rebbe was Aron HaKodesh. The Areilim, the Malachim, went out. V'nashba Aron HaKodesh, and the Aron HaKodesh, Rebbe was like a living Aron HaKodesh. He was captured. Amruli nach nafshe. They said to him, did he die? You're saying it, I'm not saying it. Like the Gemara himself says at the beginning, it's better not to bring bad news. So they realized that he died. When he was dying, I don't know who saw this, maybe they had it on video camera. He took his 10 fingers. He raised them up. Right? I use all my 10 fingers to toil in Torah. I didn't get enjoyment. Now, according to Mesilas Yesharim, this means I didn't get enjoyment from this world. Right? You could say he didn't get enough from the Torah. That's a different explanation. That's maybe my explanation. Even my pinky, I didn't get hana from the Torah or this world. On account of that, when I die, I should have peace. Should rest in peace. When he died, a Baskal came out and said he should come in peace. They, we'll see why it says a plural, they should rest on their beds. The pasuk actually says that it's quoting from. This is a pasuk in Yeshaya. It says mishkavcha, right? Singular. Why did they change the Baskal saying al mishkavosam? Bargamda, it's a proof for Bargamda, Amr Bargamda, Amr Rabbi Yossi and Shal, B'shah Shatadik Niftar Min Olam, Omer Malach Hashar Tzimnei HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Ribbon Shalom, Tzadik Ploni Ba. The Malachim say to Hashem, apparently Hashem didn't know he died, I don't know, they're saying that Hashem, he died, Ba, Omer lahem yavo tzadim yitzil dekroso. Hashem says that tzaddikim should come to greet the others, the fellow tzaddik who died. Omrim lo yavo b'shalom yanuchu mishkavosam. And they say to him, you should come in peace, and will all the tzaddikim that have come to get up from their resting should come and go back to resting. Amar lezer b'shasha tzaddik niftar min olam. When a tzaddik dies, shalosh kisan shemalachai shari tells the grasa. 3 groups of malachim come to greet him. Achos omeres lo bo b'shalom. One group says, come in peace. Achos omeres holech nichachacho. One says, walk straight. I don't know, walk straight to your resting place. Achos omeres lo yavo shalom yanucham mashkavosam. Like we said before, that all the tzaddikim come to greet them. They all go back to their resting place. B'shasha rasha never min olam. When a rasha dies, shalosh kisan shemalachai chavala yotz grasa. 3 groups of damaging angels of destruction come to greet him. One group says, there's no peace for you. Amar Hashem l'Rishoyim. Hashem said about Hashem, he'll rest in sadness. Go down and rest the people with a blocked heart, or people without a bris milah. He didn't keep the Torah, it's like a bris milah. So therefore, tzaddik dies, he gets a great olam haba. Rasha dies, not so good. So the Gemara says, it doesn't tell you really what happens. It tells you what the malachim are saying to him, but it doesn't really tell you what happens. The Mishnah says, Kozman shiv beis avia, as long as the woman is in her father's house. We talked about in the previous Mishnah, when her husband dies, she's allowed or even supposed to stay in her husband's house. If she chooses to go to her father's house, under certain circumstances, she's allowed to go, right? If she's younger, or she's willing to take less mazonos, the Gemara says, so she can go to her father's house. So if she goes to her father's house, go back ksubasa la'olam. According to the Remeir, we'll see, she could always collect her ksuba as long as she's living. Kozman she beis baila. Kozman she beis baila. Go back ksubasa ad esrem mechamesh shanim. If she remains in her husband's house, which the Mishnah says is the preferred method, she only has 25 years to collect her ksuba. Why? When she's living with her husband's heirs, so they're going to do favors for her, right? And Almana needs a lot of help. She's not able to navigate her finances so easily. Not able to. She relied on her husband for a lot of things, and now he's no longer there, so they can do a lot of favors for her. So those favors over 25 years equal the value of the ksuba. He said the name of Rishon Gamliel. That's the opinion of Meir. Where she's supposed to be in her husband's house, go back to Olam. There, she's always entitled to collect her suba. If she goes back to her father's house, go back to up until 25 years. The Gemara assumes once she leaves her husband's house and she goes to her father's house, she doesn't make a claim, right? There's a concept in law, right? What is it called? Statutes, the laws. Can't remember. You have a certain amount of time to make a claim that you want to get money or you want to report a criminal or something like that. Statute of limitations is called. So still 25 years she has that right. Before that she's mochel. She waived. After 25 years she didn't speak up. She waived her right. She's mocheles. Mesa Yershem asking Ksuasa Esher Mechamesh Shanim. If she dies, so her Yarshim are entitled to her Ksuba. They also only have 25 years. After 25 years, right, then they forfeit the Ksuba. It's Ki'ilu, they were waived, they were mochel on the Ksuba. And where's Zamar Le'abayla Rav Yosef? Ani Yishra Yisrael Esher Mechamesh Shanim Mamar Sabas Baisis Esher Mechamesh Shanim. According to Meir, he says the reason she gets 25 years when she's in Beis Baila is because that's equal to the amount of favors that they do for her, right? So Marsabas Baisus, the Gemara Gittin says, was a very rich woman. She probably had a very huge ksuva. A poor woman, maybe only has a ksuva of 100 or 200. So, or Meir said about all women. So obviously they're not equal. Marsabas Baisus should have longer to collect her ksuva. The Gemara says, Amar le lefum kam la shichna. No, if she's a rich woman, she expects more, so she'll get bigger favors. So according to everyone, after 25 years, according to Meir, the ksuva will be wiped out. According to Meir, you prorate it, meaning he says 25 years of favors is commensurate to the entire value of the ksuva. What about after 10 years, right? Does she lose what would it be? 12 and a half years. She loses 50% of the ksuba. Does it work like that? Or she loses nothing until 25 years. The Gemara leaves that unresolved. Take the Chachamim calls man the Chachamim, who we paskin like, say that as long as she's in her husband's house, she could always collect. In her father's house, she has 25 years. Amalei Abayla Rav Yosef, Asai Kodim Shkez Chachama Go B'Ksuba. So L'Ach Shkez Chachama Lo Gabi. She goes to her father's house, right? If she comes before Shkez Chachama on the anniversary of the 25 years, his 25th yard site, so before Shkez Chachama, she can collect the entire Ksuba. After Shkez Chachama, she was mochel. He porta achilta. That short amount of time, she was mochel. Amar le'in. Yes, it's true. Komin is chamim keni. That's always the chacham said. They're very precise in their rulings. Barbaim saw tovel. Barbaim saw chasar korta. Any achal litbol bahen. You can only be tovel if you have exactly 40 saw of rainwater. If you have even 1 korta, which is a very small measurement, less, you can't be tovel. Amar Rav Yehuda Amar Rav. Hey, Rishma Rabbi Yosef Nei Rabbi Shamar Mishum Aviv Lashon El Shein Shtar Ksuba Yosef Mitachas Yadel. The ruling of the Chacham is only when she doesn't have the Ksuba, the actual document of the Ksuba. Even if she's in her father's house, Go B'Ksuba Sala Olam, she can collect her Ksuba forever. We don't assume she was Mocha. Rezer argues, Afilu Shtar Ksuba Yosef Mitachas Yadel. Even if she has a Shtar Ksuba, Ein a Go Be'ela Asrim Mechamish Shanim. She only has 25 years. Mezer Rav Shesha asked the following question: Balchov Go Be'Shlo B'Haskara. Price says a balchov, right? Someone who is crediting a loan against somebody, so he could collect even without haskara, without mentioning. Hey chidami, what's the case? If the balchov doesn't have a loan document, but my gabi, how is he collecting? How could he prove that this guy owes him money? El the nakat shtar must be talking about he has a shtar. Balchov who delav barachulehu. Balchov is not gonna be mochel his loan. If he lends someone money, he expects to be paid back. He's never gonna be mochel that. Almana, right? She has a lot of they're doing favors, like the Mishnah says, they're doing favors for her. So there's reason to say she'll be mochel after 25 years. She's got it enough. She's willing to waive her right to collect the ksuba. Halmana chilta. It says a dafka by a balchov, he doesn't waive his right, but to collect the money. But almana would. So the Gemara says, he asked the question, he answered it also. Really, the case of the balchov, he also doesn't have a loan document. How come I ask moda? How is he collecting the loan if he doesn't have the shtar? So it's talking about where the person, the debtor, admits that he still owes him the money. So therefore, based on that admission, right, does balin kameid and dummy? He's allowed to collect based on that. So the Gemara continues asking, they teach in yeshiva, a grusha, a woman is divorced, right? She's also entitled to ksuva. She's like a balas chov. What's the case of a grusha? Idla nakik ksuva, akita ksuva. She doesn't have a ksuva. My gabia. How could she prove that she owed a ksuba, and then there was a gerushin? Alav nakita ksuba. She allowed nakita ksuba. She has a ksuba. A grusha he delav basachuli. A davka says a grusha. They teach a grusha. She's not going to mochel, right? She hates her husband, right? She wants to collect that ksuba. Ha almana, an almana who has probably positive feelings towards her husband and the heirs of her husband. Achilta, she'd be mochel. So the Gemara deflects the proof. Here also we're talking about by a grusha. Right, she doesn't have the shtar, the loan, the ksuba. Nonetheless, the reason she's able to collect is because the heirs of her former husband, or the former husband, is moda that he's chayiv. Amar Rav Nachman Yitzchak Tani Rav Yehuda Bar Kaza Masisa the Beit Kaza. Rav Nachman Yitzchak says that they taught in the brises of Beit Bar Kaza, certain yeshiva Bar Kaza, Tava Ksuvasa. If she solicits her ksuba, she asks for a ksuba, top of Kuf Dalet Amud Beis, Harei Gibet Chila. Right? Meaning, we said 25 years, according to the Chachamim, who will say we paskin like. So, she's been Beis Aviyah, she has 25 years. So, after 20 years, she demands her ksuva, and then she says, you know what, I don't want my ksuva. So, you start counting another 25 years from that time where she asked for a ksuva. And if she has a shtar ksuva, go b'ksuva sal olam. In that case, she doesn't have 25 years, she has forever. Shalach lei Rav Nachman, Rav Chisda, Rav Nachman, Bar Yaakov, Yilamdin Rabbeinu, Kshtar Ksuva Yosef Mitachas Yada Machlokes. Kshein Shtar Ksuva Yosef Mitachas Yada. Right? We just seemingly paskin in Beit Bar Kaza they paskin when she has a shtar ksuva she can collect forever. He wanted to know what's the halacha l'maisa. Do we say that if she has a shtar ksuva she can collect forever? Okay, halacha divrei mi. And yeah, second question he added: who do we pass like in our Mishnah? We pass like Rav Meir, or do we pass like a Chachamim? The Chachamim say exactly the opposite of Rav Meir. They say base Baila she has forever, base Avia she only has 25 years. Shalach lei sent back to him. Mishain shark tuva yosef mitachas yada machlokas. The argument is only when she doesn't have a shark tuva. If she had a shark tuva, she can collect forever. Shark tuva yosef mitachas yada go back to us alone. She can collect forever. Halacha the Chachamim. And second, he answered the second question. The halacha accords with the Chachamim that say that she can collect forever as long as she's in her husband's house. Ki asar of dimi amar shum and bazi amar shum and levi mishum bar kapara. They say the name bar kapara. Lo shan olav manu masayim. We're only talking about the basic suba, the 100 for the almana, the masayim for the psula, but Tosefes, Tosefes she always has, even after 25 years, the base avia, right, and she doesn't have a stark suba. Nonetheless, she can always collect the Tosefes. Rabbi Abahu, Rabbi Yochanan, I feel the Tosefes ain't. He says after 25 years, she lost also the Tosefes. The Amar, Rabbi Aibo, Amar Rabbi Yanai, Tnai Ksuba Dami. We've learned that Tnai Ksuba, the stipulations of the Ksuba that are guaranteed by Chazal to the woman like the Ksuba, and one of the Tnai Ksuba is the Tosefes Ksuba, is like the Ksuba. She forfeited the Ksuba, she also forfeited the Tosefes Ksuba. Itmar Nami, Amar Rabbi Abba, Amar Rav Huna, Amar Rav, L'shon L'amana Ma'asayin, well, Tosefes Yeshla. He actually said the opposite. He said, no, she does have Tosefes. Amar Rabbi Abba, Rav Huna. Rabbi Abba, he quoted the name of Rav Huna. He said afterwards, he said, Rav Huna, Amar Rav Hachi, did Rav really say this? Right? That she's still entitled to Tosefes Ksuba? Amar Lei, Ishtigan Kamras or Ashkayin Kamras? When you're asking me this question, if Rav really said it, are you trying to say maybe that Rav didn't say? You're trying to silence me? Ashkayin Kamras, or you're just trying to prove, to strengthen what I said? You want to make a L'chaim. Speaking of making L'chaims, everyone's invited to see him, Kesubos. Hopefully, I think it's next Thursday, but if it's not next Thursday, we'll do it the following Sunday. We're going to serve margaritas. It's going to be amazing, amazing. I think people will be back from Bein Hazmanim, so we'll have more people. It'll be fun. Amrlei Ishtikan Kamina, he said, I meant to silence you. I mean, I wasn't sure if the halacha is like that. We happen to paskin, like Rabbi Aval and Rabbi Yochanan, even the Tosefes she loses after 25 years, provided that she doesn't have the shtar ksuva. Chamse the Reb Chia Aricha insis achva havai. An interesting case. The mother-in-law Rabbi Chia was married to a woman who had a mother, right? Reb Chia Aricha. And his brother happened to have been married to his mother-in-law. Now, right, his brother, he inherited his brother. We're going to see he inherited his brother, and she was staying in her brother's house. He gave her mazonos like he's supposed to for 25 years. He inherited his brother. He has to pay off his mother-in-law to give her mazonos for 25 years. And her ksuba, whenever she asked for it, Bein Nasha, she actually went back to her father's house. So she only is entitled for 25 years. So Amrullah Havli Mazone. After 25 years, she wanted more mazonos. Amrullah Leislach Mazone. You're not entitled to mazonos anymore. Havli ksuba. Give me my ksuba. Amrullah Lo Mazone Islach. Lo ksuba Islach. After 25 years, Chum say, if you go back to your father's house, you lost everything. Tavasi Ladina, she brought him to Basin, Kamed, the Rav Barashela. Amrle, Emily is a gufa de uvda hechiava. Tell me exactly what happened. Amrle, Zinsa, Zanisa. Zanisa Esra Mechamishanim, Bebein Asha, Bechaye Demar, Bekatfe Amtayla. I fed her for 20 years. Not only that, I actually brought the food on my own shoulders to her. Amrle, so he responded back to him, Reb Shila responded back to him. The reason, according to the Chamim, she collects her ksuva forever as long as she's in her husband's house. Right? She doesn't. We don't assume she waived it after 25 years. Even though 25 years is the normal amount of time that someone would give up, right, forfeit their ksuva, when she's living in her husband's house and the heirs of her husband are doing favors for her, she's embarrassed to demand the ksuva. So she didn't waive her ksuva. Here also, even though she lived in her father's house, because you're doing a favor to her, and you were bringing on your shoulders her mizonos, her heavy loaves of bread, those frozen loaves of bread that were heavy on your shoulders, you brought it to her. She's embarrassed to ask, so she wasn't mocheles her ksuva. We don't assume she was mocheles her ksuva. Zil havla, he said, go pay her. Ksuba, ashka kasav la, lo ashkach. He didn't listen. Kasav la adrachta anichse. One part, seeing that he wasn't listening, he wrote a star that basically you can collect. Basin had control over his land. You go collect to the woman. You can go collect from his real estate, collect from his possession. Your ksuba asal kamei derova. Amrulay chazi marhechi denan. He was very upset about this. He came to Rava. He said, see what this judge did for me? Amrulay shapir dancha. He said it was a good judgment. Amrulay ihachil. So once the woman heard it was a good judgment, not only by one dayan, by two dayan. Amrulay ihachil ezel lahadali piri demeno yoma ara idna. Right. Apparently, more time had passed after the star drachta. Even the star said she can collect from his possessions, and in a certain amount of period of time, where so all the payrolls that were grown in those fields, give me that also, right? From the time the star was written. Amar la achvi la ad karasech. So Rava said, show me the star that was written, the collection star. Chazi de lahava kasabe vishta madana de nechasim elu de misne. Right. It was declared that the nechasim that have a shibud, a lien on the ksuva, belong to the dead person, right? Because the brother, right, who inherited his brother, he has things that he inherited from his brother. He has his own possessions. So the shtar is really supposed to say he's only allowed to collect from the possessions that he inherited from his brother, not from his own possessions. Amar Allah, so once he saw the shtar, I dropped the lav shapir. If it wasn't written the right way, it should have only said, right? It says in general, it says she could collect from all his nechasa. It didn't say only from the possessions he inherited from his brother. Amrulay tezel adrachta. Amrulay, she said to him, tezel adrachta eshkol miyom. Forget about the shtar. Eshkol miyom the shlima yom achrasta. Once you wrote the shtar, there's also a period where they auction off. They announce the property is for sale. They write the shtar and they auction off the property. Once the 30 days or the 60 days, we're talking about Mesachas Erchin, usually it's 30 days over here, are finished, Ad Hashta. Once that is finished, at least from that point on, she should have been entitled to the payros. Ad Hashta, until now, the court date with Rav was much later. Amar lahani mila heichad lo kasev ta'usa b'ajrachta. You can only collect where there wasn't a mistake written in the shtar. People are relying on the shtar, so therefore you can't collect. Amar le b'ham maru da amar. You said achrayat ha'asol for who? If you don't write achrayas, normally a shtar has achrayas, meaning when I sell a property to somebody, right? Normally the correct way is writing achrayas. You have a guarantee that if I buy it and someone claims it, and they have a lien on that property, I go back to the person who sold it to me to collect, compensation for what he took from me, for the purchase that I made. And even if you don't write achrayas, and you're supposed to write that, it tells sofer, we blame it on the sofer, and really you're entitled to achrayas. So therefore, even though it was written wrong, this jar, but at least it should be interpreted the correct way. Who Amar La achrayat sofer? Amar La Rava said back to her, in this instance, you can't say it's a mistake of the sofer. The original Dayan Toy. He made a mistake about the law itself, about what to write in the shtar, right? It wasn't the sofer's mistake, it was the Dayan's mistake. Mikara Husavar, what did he think? Rabbi Barshela. Mikara Husavar, Hani Vahani Dide. Right, both the possessions that he inherited from his brother and his own possessions belonged to him. Mali Mahani. It wasn't matter which possession she collects from. Therefore, he didn't write. You can only collect from the possessions that he inherited from his brother. Veloi, that's not the truth. Zimnan da'azla mishab chalahu. Right, sometimes if the woman knows she can collect from all the property, she'll go and, she wants to take care of the land that she's going to be able to collect in court one day from him. So she'll improve that land. Udabala mixafi, whatever, her husband that the brother inherited, she'll let go bad. And she plans on collecting from the one she wants to, the one she improved. Amar La, and then he'll say to her, Shakal didcha v'havli didi. He'll say to her, no, take the property inherited from your brother, from your husband, and leave mine alone. And people are going to say disparaging things about Beis Din, that Beis Din wasn't precise, right? Because technically all she has a lien on is the property that belonged to her husband, that the brother inherited from her husband. So if you don't write it, it's a big mistake, because then the truth is she can only collect from her husband's, whatever her brother inherited from her husband. She'll think she can collect from any property, and therefore it's going to be disparaging on Beis Din that they didn't write this. That's why it has to be written in the shtar, and that's why it was a mistake. So she's entitled to the property, but she's not entitled to the payrolls. That's the maskana of the Gemara. Hajrallah Hanose. We have finished Hanose, the 12th parak of Kesubos. I believe there's only one more parak of Kesubos left. Yes, there's only a 13th parak left. Kuf Yud Beis is the last daf. That means today is Kuf Dal, tomorrow will be Kuf Hey, Wednesday. So that means that next Wednesday will be the Siyum Kesubos. Stick around, a lot of fun ahead. Stay tuned for Ian Ben Sion. We'll discuss this daf a little more on the Ian side. See you over there.